Okay, so you just mentioned a co-creation project. What does co-creation mean?
For the first time, we're inviting our community to create a new variant of the Phone 2a together with us. So that includes everything from the design of the product, to the packaging, to the wallpapers, and also the marketing campaigns.
Well, I have to try. So basically, Nothing is doing a contest where the community has to design a special edition of their latest phone. You can't change everything about the phone. You can't change the shape, the features, or the placements of the various parts. According to the rules, you're supposed to mostly change color, finish, and materials. It's a pretty big limitation, but an understandable one. The whole challenge lasts just a few months. It would be incredibly expensive and complex to re-engineer the phone on the spot, essentially. As I said, I can't alter the functionality of the phone, so the role of a designer in a similar situation consists in crafting a story, or at least creating a meaning of some kind. One could theoretically do anything, but the way I see it when it comes to design is that you must have a reason behind every choice you make. I don't want to add random colors or details just because they look cool. Whatever I end up making has to have a meaning, ideally one that fits the theme of the challenge, right? But what theme exactly? While neither in the brief or anywhere else do they explicitly say what they want, I think I found the implicit theme of the challenge. Special. This is, without a doubt, a special edition phone. It'll be the result of a process that I have never seen attempted by anyone else. It's probably going to have a limited production too, how else would you call it? I wanted to represent the idea itself of a special edition. I needed a symbol, a metaphor, something strong that as many people as possible can resonate with, at least considering the company's target. It doesn't have to be something too obvious, but it must fit Nothing's branding, their ethos, the kind of culture from which they draw inspiration. I spent a few days imagining different possibilities, until I came across an idea that, although it's quite strange, probably not what you would expect, I think ties in perfectly with everything I said. The idea in question is cards. In case you didn't know, for some reason at Nothing they are obsessed with Pokemon. They reference them whenever they get the chance. The codenames they use are Pokemon names. The Phone 2a, for example, was called Aerodactyl. Of course, one of the most iconic aspects of Pokemon as a brand is the trading card game. But what does that have to do with a phone? What do cards have to do with a phone design? Well, considering the theme behind the challenge and everything I said, what better metaphor than cards? To everyone who grew up with collectible cards like these, of course not necessarily Pokemon, they are the symbol for special editions. It's the first type of special edition many of us ever encountered, and this meaning in popular culture never really went away. And it's interesting how the parallels also extend to some of the constraints. They are, after all, a design solution to a similar problem. How do you communicate that a specific card is special without altering the obvious stuff, like size and weight? The solution they found was to make them shiny. Then there's many different type of rarities, all very different from one another, but the quintessential type of special edition card, the most iconic, is the one with a shiny holographic background and an opaque foreground, so that there's more of a distinction between the layers. And that's exactly what I did. This is the Nothing Phone 2a Holo. As you can see, in my concept, the key elements of what I felt was the foreground layer remain opaque, whereas the background has this almost reflective look. I also used the difference in surface roughness to hide an Easter egg of sorts, the original design wireframe of the Phone 2a. I felt it fit the tone of the challenge. It's all about letting the community have a role in the design process after all. Oh, and speaking of that, the red accent square from the original design became blue. It's a reference to how the Nothing community website's favicon is blue instead of the red you find on the regular website. And now the elephant in the room. Why did I make it grey? Well, this is a special edition, and unfortunately special edition is usually a synonym of an excuse to make something wacky and weird. Designers making special editions sometimes like to use colors or graphics that make it very easy to see what they are trying to reference or convey, sometimes at the expense of how well such designs hold up after a few months or years. This is one of the most common problems with special editions in general. They can get old fast. I had to strike a balance. The design needed to work, both as a special edition and as a product you want to use long term. Of course, the Phone 2a already comes in two variants of white and one variant of black. I wanted to choose a color that would be clearly different from those, while not looking out of place. I tested a bunch of colors between those two. The shade I ended up choosing is the one I felt worked best with the shiny back. Anyway, this is the Phone 2a Holo. If you want to see it win, if you want to see it become a real, tangible product you can actually buy, there's a chance it could happen. Just go to the link on screen or in the description and vote it. The deadline to vote is April 22nd. Thank you very much for watching. Ciao!